everybody, it's Board Game Breakfast from a moving car here on our way to the airport after the UK Games Expo. Obviously, Board Game Breakfast was a day late this week, but we'll be on time back next week. All right, a couple things. If you want to come to Dice Tower Con, oh, I'm sorry, it's sold out. But I did warn you guys for like a year for this sort of thing. You can get on a waiting list if you want to come, but while you're thinking about that, there's about 20 rooms left on the cruise. So if you still want to come on the Dice Tower cruise, you can check that out. There's no week in review this week because, well, there just isn't. So come back and see that next week. And that's pretty much all the regular stuff. Let's get to the news. Okay, so for news, there's not a whole lot going on this week, really. They announced the new Shadowrun Crossfire Prime Runner, it's called. It's going to add a 5th player to the game. They made some minor improvements. They're probably going to take some of the stuff from the Dungeons & Dragons one, so there's that. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea has a new expansion coming out. Mermen and Birdfolk. Actually, it's on Kickstarter, and maybe Suzanne's going to talk about it, but I like it enough that I thought I'm going to mention it. QSF has a new Muse standalone game / expansion coming, so if you want more cards for Muse. Muse is a great little party game, and probably the biggest problem it has is there's not more cards in it, right? Well, now you can fix that by getting this expansion. Artipia has announced The Thief's Fortune. This is a card drafting engine building game where you will have areas in front of you where you go to the past, present, and future. I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds fun. And Spring Meadow. This is the 3rd game in the Uwe Rosenberg trilogy. And tile games. This will be coming in America from Stronghold Games. Can they make a 3rd game that feels different? Well, probably not. But it looks fun. It looks interesting. I like the tile laying stuff so far. And guess what? That's all the news. Really short this week. Let's jump over to Kickstarter.
Today we have a project that lets us grow some sprouts and another that lets us grow our corporation. Let's take a look at what's happening in our crowdfunding world today. In New Corp Order, you're a mega corporation executive trying to grow brand awareness by manipulating the media. In this card-based game of hand management, set collection, and area control, players draft and collect cards for sets that will get shares in media companies. Sets let you plant agents within that company, and enough agents lets you recruit consultants, and those can really help you attain your goals. New Corp Order includes a full rule set for solo play, and similar to its sibling game Peak Oil, New Corp Order features gorgeous stylized art by Heiko Günther. A base game of New Corp Order is a pledge of $30, or you can get the deluxe edition for $45 plus shipping. 18 Lilliput is a card-based 18XX game designed by Lonnie Orgler, one of the designers of Russian Railroads. 18 Lilliput has all the trappings of a traditional 18XX rail game. Build up your tracks, establish stations, buy trains, and trade shares, all similar to what you find in other 18XX games. But in 18 Lilliput, this is driven by action cards. Each card offers you 2 options of action, and timing the selection is absolutely critical. Players draft action cards in kind of a snake draft, and while 18 Lilliput is a streamlined 18XX experience, it still takes 1 to 2 hours to play. And it's really touted to be a great intro into this gaming genre for those previously uninitiated. A copy of 18 Lilliput takes a pledge of €29 plus shipping. Assembly is a puzzly solitaire game that can be played 2-player, in which you play the sole survivor of a deadly space virus that's wiped out your space station. The computer, trying to prevent the spread of the virus, has locked down the station, and now you must work to finish assembling the last spaceship and escape, in spite of the computer's efforts to stop you. To do this, you manipulate module tokens in the card assembly line, trying to move the tokens into the matching card bays. In assembly, you have 4 basic commands to do all that moving of module tokens around the card ring. Once they're in place, you can try to lock them in, and you'll do this hopefully before the computer scrambles things up. Assembly plays quickly, and it has a cool abstract vibe to it, and you can get a copy for a pledge of just £16 plus shipping. Pencil First Games is expanding their botanical world with herbaceous sprouts. This dice and drafting game was designed by the same team behind Herbaceous, Steve Finn and Eduardo Baraf. Seed dice are randomly allocated to cards, those cards are drafted by players, and then the seeds, collected in sets, will be planted for points in the garden. Different garden sections have different requirements for placement, and overall, Herbaceous Sprouts is a light and beautiful game that fans of Herbaceous should be very pleased with. You can get a copy of Herbaceous Sprouts for a pledge of $35 plus shipping. Fantastic Factories is a vibrant dice placement and engine building game. Players are working to build up a successful factory system that produces a plethora of goods. Now, this may sound a bit dry, but the colorful and whimsical design adds a lot of life to the game. In Fantastic Factories, you'll draft factory blueprints or contractors, use dice to take actions, and use in-hand cards to build new factories. Different factories require different dice combos to activate, and training facilities ensure that there's plenty of dice roll mitigation. As you build up your factory system, combos will start to kick in as you work to build 10 buildings or produce 12 goods. Fantastic Factories also includes a solitaire set of rules, and getting a copy takes a pledge of $29 plus shipping. Alrighty, that's all I've got for you this episode. Hopefully something caught your eye. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Hey there everyone, I'm Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with this week's segment From the Page to the Table. This week's book selection is considered to be one of the first and original English novels, and it is Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. Written in the 1700s, it was an immediate success for Defoe, partially because it was based on a true story and readers at the time thought it was a true story. This is one of those novels that is in the children's literature section in many libraries, and I often wonder, why? There's cannibals in there. There's all kinds of things that we would probably deem today not super appropriate for children. But in the 1700s, this book had a very strong religious and moral lessons for children to learn, and I think that's why it has stood the test of time. This is going to be a very clear and easy pairing this week for a board game. And it is, of course, Robinson Crusoe, designed by Ignacy Trzewiczek, and our copy is the original one, the first edition, published by Z-Man Games. 1 to 4 players, 120 minutes, although that can vary on scenario and how quickly you lose the scenario. This is kind of a light pairing of sorts because while the game is Robinson Crusoe, there's really only one scenario in here that really is Robinson Crusoe based. There's a lot of dice rolling in here as well, which I think can be frustrating at times, but when you think in terms of pairing it with the original source material, Robinson Crusoe had a lot of luck going on. He had a lot of good luck sometimes, but he also had a lot of really terrible and bad luck going on all these ships and adventures and just ending stranded and shipwrecked all the time. I like that this game has so many scenarios in here, and there's even one called Jenny, one for Jenny. Love Ignacy and the work that he does. I'll see you next week. Happy breakfast.
Randy and Ellen, we game together.
It's your turn.
Ooh.
Hi, I'm Randy.
And I'm Ellen, and welcome to our segment that we're calling Games Just Played, where we want to talk about the games that we just played. And we really want to hone in on the two-player aspect of these games, because more often than not, it's us two sitting at the kitchen table playing games.
We primarily play our games together at 2 players. We do play with other people also, obviously, but we get to play a lot of games at 2 players, so we have a pretty good idea of it.
We do.
Tonight we played Istanbul. The base game we've played quite a few times. It's a grid of tiles. You have a merchant that you can walk 1 or 2 spaces at a time. You do those various actions. You acquire coins and resources, and you're turning those coins and resources into gems, which ultimately wins you the game.
That's right. And actually, recently we just purchased the Coffee and Baksheesh expansion, which I needed because it says coffee in it, and coffee is life.
I hate coffee.
He does.
But this expansion is fantastic.
It's fantastic. We play it so often that we needed another layer, and this definitely gives you that. And you're getting resources for coffee and turning those into gems, so it just adds that in there. We love it. I don't see myself playing without it now, actually.
No, it's a near essential for me. It got a little bit stale with just the 2 of us playing over and over again. We kind of fell into a certain strategy that we liked.
Yeah, we
this
did.
one just adds a whole new avenue. and more randomization when you mix the tiles up. And it's fantastic at 2 players. If you play it at 3 players, it's just as good there. It scales really well.
Yep, we absolutely love it. So pick it up. It's a good one.
And if you're wondering why this big screen is behind us, we needed a background for this video. We're photographers. We figured, let's put a picture up we took. This is of the Rock of Dunamaze in Ireland, our favorite place in Ireland.
It was breathtaking. We loved it so much that we named our dog after it.
Yeah,
So,
it's a great place. But I'm Randy.
I'm Mel. We'll see you next time on Games Just Played.
So what's coming out from the Dice Tower this week? Well, we're going to be recording some reviews and things. I don't know exactly what because I'm traveling back, but I have several different games I'm going to be taking a look at, including a really neat logic style type game that you may not have heard of before, which I'm just completely fascinated with. But the thing that's going to be different and unusual is later on today, actually, I'm going to be doing a live Q&A this week, but I'm not going to be doing it today. I'll be doing it in a few days. Today I'm going to be doing the most boring live unboxing in the world live. I've been doing my boring unboxings, but what we do is we get a whole pile of games in, and we open them up. You see a daily unboxing every day, but we get more games in than that daily unboxing. So every month I'm going to catch up from games that came 4 months ago. So we have a pile of games I'm going to be opening today, and you can expect some of them are going to be pretty bad, but some of them might be good. But there's one thing I can guarantee, it will be boring. Come back and check that out later on. And also, of course, check out Dice Tower and everything there on dicetower.com.
Hello everyone, my name is Annette, and you may know me as Netters Plays. And today on Applied Mechanics, I'm not going to go over a game, but I'm actually going to go over Kubla Khan. Now, Kubla Khan is a convention that has existed in the Bay Area since 1994, and this was my 3rd time attending. So let me tell you a little bit about what this con has to offer. So one of the cool things that you instantly see when you walk into the hotel are these giant games. These giant versions of familiar board games like Shadows over Camelot or even Number 9. So in one of the main halls, there's the CCG room. And this is a location where all the collectible card game tournaments or just players are hanging out and having fun. There's also the role-playing game room, and not only is there one room, but there's plenty of different rooms. One main room, of course, offering a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, but there's also Pathfinder and other independent role-playing games. Another main hall is the wargaming area, and to tell you the truth, I don't know too much about this type of gaming, but I did enjoy all the different miniatures that are in that game room. It offers a lot of opportunities for these people to show off the great landscapes that they've created, as well as all the painting and the miniatures that they have to offer. And it's a great opportunity to see this played out on a table as well. Another neat aspect of the convention is that there's a vendor's hall. This is a place where you can pick up a lot of old, new, or even preview a lot of games on Kickstarter. So this is a location where you can purchase these games or even demo them. There's a bunch of local vendors there too, so you can also pick up a lot of craft items like artwork or even clothing or even jewelry as well. There's a lot to pick from in the vendor hall. So this is my local con that I love going to. There's a lot of different types of games that you can learn or you can even teach. But what I mostly enjoy are just playing with friends. So if you might have missed it this year, there's always a great opportunity to join us next year. Well, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Hey everyone, welcome back. On today's Works of Art, I'm going to be featuring Celestia by QSF Games with artwork done by Gaetan Noir. Celestia is a push-your-luck dice and card game where you're trying to fly to the farthest city in hopes of amassing the greatest amount of treasure. Gaetan does a spectacular job with his art in the game, and it helps really sell the theme. Most, if not all, of the art in this game should be displayed somewhere. The artwork on the city tiles is amazing, and they each feature their own unique artwork. And you have the treasure cards, in which Gaetan does a fantastic job giving his specialized look and feel to them. You have treasure maps and gems and more unique items, and his stylized look does each and every one of these cards justice. And now moving on to the equipment cards. His art style breathes life into items such as compasses, foghorns, cannons, and even a lightning arrestor cannon. And finally, we have the adventurer tiles, in which he gives his take on the characters that we control throughout the game. Again, every component in this game has a very stylized look to them, and Gaetan sells this theme very well. Gaetan is a French illustrator born in 1984 and is now living in Lyon. He's a jack of all trades, and he's illustrated in several fields from video games to cartoons through illustration. If you guys want to get more information on Gaetan, you should check out his website. It's www.gaetannoir.com, where you can check out more work on Celestia, as well as a gallery featuring artwork from video games and cartoon illustrations. He's also on Facebook at Gaetan Noir. Well, that's all I have for you this week, guys. Remember to check me out on all the various social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and come check out my YouTube channel, Board Game Artistry with Gamer Joe. And until next time, guys, take care.
Hi, Mike Delisio from Solomode Games. Today I'm getting ready to be taught Street Masters by the designers Adam and Brady Sadler, and Tom runs a pretty tight ship here, so he's got about a minute to tell solo gamers why they should be excited about the game. Go!
All right, I'll start this off. So, Street Masters is a fighting sandbox game that's designed from the ground up to scale per player easily. So, when you're playing solo, you just choose one fighter deck. You don't have to control multiple fighters. And this is a game where you can mix and match all the components. So, you have decks for fighters, you have decks for enemies, and you have decks for stages.
Which also determines the map tile.
Yeah, so you have a map tile, then the enemies have all the enemy figures.
This makes for quick setup, but also tons of decision points in the game. It's a very tactical game. It's very satisfying. It's got cool dice that explode. Exploding dice are always fun.
Dripping with theme. Yes. I mean, if you know the brawlers from your childhood playing arcade games, this is going to bring back all that nostalgia. Plays quick. Yeah,
quick setup. Yep. Lots of variability. Lots of replay value. Lots of different combinations. And fun.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it. All right, guys, so I just finished Street Masters a little while ago. I'm back at Solomode headquarters, and what did I think? Well, it was good. It was really good. It was as advertised. Very quick to set up. You pick a character deck, pick an enemy deck, pick a stage deck and a corresponding tile, put out a few tokens, and you're really good to go. It plays quickly. It has a very clearly defined structure, and so really the replayability comes in which each of these character decks, because from what I've seen, they play very differently from each other. They have different abilities, different strengths, different weaknesses, different ways to kind of manipulate the style of play, and so the replayability on this, the levels seen through the chart. So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, I think you should take a look at Street Masters, and I love the solo mode on it. So thanks again to Adam and Brady Sadler for their time and for showing me their game. Thank you so much for your time, and have a great day.
Hello there, I'm Gil Mello, and welcome to another Journey of a Non-Board Gamer, where my friend Jess and I travel around the country and I teach him a new game every week. This is actually our last week for probably 7 weeks. We will be traveling for a while. Yeah, so we'll be home, see our family, so I might just do some traveling games segments. But today we played a game, well, this is the second most suggested game that I should teach you, Jesse. And it's King Domino. But we actually played what? Queen Domino. Queen Domino, yes, I did play Queen Domino, which I think is the same kind of game. And by the second most suggested, I mean only 13 people did it. So can you tell us a little bit about the game?
Well, it's you put down tiles and you have a strategy where you're accumulating land masses, forests, lakes, fields. In addition to that, you can also acquire knights who, when they're put on certain of the land masses, they can collect taxes. Plus, there's a dragon involved, and a dragon can sort of like burn up things for the other player so that they can advance as well as you. So.
Yeah, there are a few things on the Queen Domino that were added that there were not on King Domino. So as Jess said, the Queen, which while you have the Queen, it makes buying tiles a little cheaper. The tiles are a new thing, so you can add tiles to get more stuff out of all your land, and the dragon will kind of burn some of those before your opponents to buy it. And the knights, you put the knights, they'll collect coins so you can buy tiles. So what did you think about the game?
I thought it was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, so is that a game that you probably would play more often?
I would do it again.
Thanks for watching, and happy breakfast, everybody.
Happy breakfast. Let's go eat.
Peekaboo.
What's up, everyone? I'm Danny.
And I'm Derek, and this is You Bet Your Bippy.
In this segment, we're going to give you some fun facts about a specific game so you can strike up a conversation at your next game night.
And this week's game is Terraforming Mars.
Terraforming Mars is an economic resource management and tableau building game where you are racing your fellow corporations to completely transform the red planet.
Hey Danny.
What's up?
Did you know that the largest mountain in our solar system is actually located on Mars? It's called Olympus Mons, and it is literally 4 times the size of Mount Everest. Can you imagine?
Do you want to try to climb it?
At 14 miles high? No.
Well, did you know that there are Vikings on Mars?
Vikings?
Well, there were Vikings, and they were spaceships sent up by NASA in 1975.
Oh.
Vikings 1 and 2. And actually, Viking 1 was one of the first ways that we got photographs of Mars.
Is that true?
You bet your bippy.
Wow. Did you know that it's going to take 687 Earth days for Mars to complete 1 rotation of the Sun?
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Well, I guess that means your 30th birthday that's coming up, it'll actually be your 16th or 17th birthday.
Sweet 16, everyone. Going to Mars. Turn 16, y'all.
Speaking of the sun, if we had a romantic evening out and we were watching the sunset, did you know that the sunset on Mars is actually blue?
Oh, why would it be blue?
Because of all the dust storms and all the particles and how the atmosphere refracts light.
Okay.
It actually turns this bright iridescent blue.
Like a big blueberry in the sky.
Like a big old blueberry in the sky.
How beautiful. That must be wonderful, huh? Now, did you know any of these facts? Or do you have any facts of your own you'd like to share with us? Please do so in the comments below.
And make sure you guys follow us all over social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube.
And until next week, happy breakfast, everybody.
Happy breakfast. Time for blueberry pancakes.
Blueberry sun pancakes.
Folks, well, as I'm recording this and traveling back from UK Games Expo, I thought I would talk a little bit about it. The UK Games Expo just announced their numbers. They had over 18,000 unique people there, easily making it one of the biggest conventions in the world. Definitely bigger than Origins at this point. This year, they certainly expanded from last year. Last year, they had a big exhibit hall, as they've had for a few years now. Each year, that hall's gotten bigger. This year, that hall grew into a second exhibit hall. Here you can see some video of one of the halls as I'm standing at the stairs of the second hall looking down. But they also had an open game area. They had a huge area for tournaments. The whole thing feels like a proper large convention now, but it still has that down-home feeling. Now in the past, we've said that we have enjoyed the UK Games Expo because it has, it's just one of our favorite expos. That feeling has not gone away. It is still one that I extremely enjoy. I really like it because the friendliness and how everyone just is wanting to go around and play games is certainly there. The UK Games Expo, there are a few new games released here. I believe we saw Century Eastern Wonders for the first time and a few other games. But there's really not a lot of games that are released at this convention. And it's certainly not one where when they open the doors in the morning, people run in to grab the newest and hottest games. Instead, people are running in to grab games. They just want games. And so it's like one of the more shopping conventions I've ever been to. Not where people are going in to buy the newest and latest and greatest, but they just want to go around and find good deals on games in general. For the people who came by the booth, the number of people who've been in the hobby for a few months, half a year, 2 years, was really quite large. There's a lot of people who are just coming around, and so this plethora of games that are available to them is just gigantic. And I really like that because, I mean, it's great. Can you imagine? It's like going to a buffet and never having tried any of the foods there before, and now you get to go there and just try them all for the first time. And so that's what's going on at the UK Games Expo here, is that there's just so much new games for people. So it gives the convention a different feeling than, let's say, Gen Con and Essen, where people just run in and grab stuff. And so there's people playing games all over the place, lots of companies. There's a lot of British companies, obviously, that are here that are not in other places. There's a focus certainly on miniatures, for sure. There's a lot of miniature companies, a lot of miniature supply companies, but it's definitely a tabletop convention. When you come to the convention, there's more stores than other conventions, but there's also mostly board games. You find a few t-shirt stands at this convention and a few other, minor things, but for the most part, it's I'd say 70% board games, 20% miniatures, a smattering of role-playing. It really is, if you're a board gamer, this is a convention that you should come to. So we had a great time, as we always do. We got to see a lot of our friends from Europe and from England. For all those of you who are watching this who came by the booth, we want to say a big thank you to you. We did a live show there. We actually did 3 live shows. We did a game show. I did a Q&A with Martin Wallace and Tony Boydell, where we talked about designing and how that's changed, and that and our top 10 list there that we did with Dave Luza. We hope to post those on our channel over the next coming weeks. So don't look for those right away, but we hope to get those up at some point or other. Either way, this is the 3rd time we've gone to this convention. It was, so far, my favorite convention of the year. Of course, Dice Tower Con's coming up, but it was an amazing time. And we want to thank the UK Games Expo for letting us come to it, and for all the people who were there. A fantastic time, and if you have any opportunity to get to it, you really should. It is amazing.
Howdy folks, welcome to By the Numbers. My name is Hunter Thomason from the Family Showdown. This week's topic, are the lines blurring between the categories of the Spiel des Jahres Awards? I was recently able to attend the BGG Spring Convention. One of the cool things about that convention is they have all 9 Spiel des Jahres nominees. I got to play all 9 games. One thing I noticed quickly was the gamer games seemed unusually light. Taking a look at this handy dandy chart, we see the average weight of all the nominees every year since 2011 for the Game of the Year Award and the Gamer Award. At first glance, it does not appear that there is much difference between this year and previous years. The averages are about the same, and the spread between the Gamer Award and the regular award are pretty consistent. Over on BoardGameGeek.com, the early voting for the weight of the Gamer Game nominees for this year's award show that 2 of those games are 2 of the 3 lightest games nominated for the Gamer Award since 2011. Those being the Quack of Quedlinburg, I'm not going to try to attempt to say the German name, and Clever, pretty clever I think is the English translation, are the 2 lightest games, one being tied with K2 of the 2012 nominations. Another interesting thing to note that all 4 of the Gamer Game category winners from the last 4 years were the lightest game in that category. So the question is, are the lines blurring between the Game of the Year Award and the Gamer Award? It actually appears they've been blurred for quite a while. For an extended version of this video, head over to our Family Showdown YouTube channel. Thank you for watching.
Hey folks, this is Jonathan for This Is Broken, and today's game is going to be Wasteland Express Delivery System. So bear with me, I'm going to show you what I think is broken, underpowered, overpowered, or not balanced at all inside that game. So this is just a sample of a map. When you're going to play the game for real, you're going to have 16 of those tiles put randomly with all of those locations in between and around. You're going to pick a faction, pick some quests to do, and the goal of the game is to finish those quests as fast as possible. And complete 2 main quests, you win the game. So it's a racing game. You have to go as fast as possible, and this is why this faction is overpowered with its this first movement. It's 4 spaces, and all of the other faction are 3 spaces away for the first movement. They all get you a lot of special powers, great special powers, but because this game is a race, you want to go as fast as possible. And when you play with players of the same level and you all know what to do, most of the time the guy that's going to play the faction with the extra movement is going to win, because most of the location are at least 4 spaces away. It can be 3 spaces away, sometimes it can be 5, but be able to only move once to reach where you want to go, it's a big advantage over the other factions, where those powers are still great, but I think, in my opinion, that they are all tied to action that not essential. You can play the game whatever you want, but going fast, it's always great. So this is a little bit overpowered in my opinion. So thank you for watching. See you next time, guys. Bye bye.
Hi everyone, it is very early on Sunday, the last day of the UK Games Expo, and it has been an amazing convention for me. I got to hang out with a lot of people, and I have played games. I have actually sat down and played long games as well. I think this is going to be the best convention I've ever been to, but who knows, that might change next month. The UK Games Expo is not all about the release of a trillion bazillion new games, but instead you can get a sneak peek of games that are about to be released. Like this morning, where I am meeting Ignacy Trevicek from Portal Games at an undisclosed location to try out his new game, Detective. But I did get to see some new games, and this week I am playing one of them. A game that my son kind of nudged me towards. A game that has flicking and spaceships. This week I am playing Flicky Spaceships. In Flicky Spaceships, you are commanding your own spaceship on a modular board. On your turn, you flick your spaceship, and if you land on a planet, you will receive that planet's resource. Fly around the board to collect enough resources until you are able to buy an upgrade. Bump into other players, steal from them, and gather victory points along the way. Flicky Spaceships is fast, fun, and I'm sure my son is gonna love it. The day has come to a close. It has been so much fun seeing so many of you people here. It has been an honor to see how many people lined up, queued up for the This Game is Broken live show. It really was amazing. We had to change into a bigger room, and oh man, it was an amazing convention. My next one is going to be Dice Tower. What? My next one is going to be Dice Tower Con. It's in a month. I really can't wait. Thanks for watching. My name is Dave Nusa, and this is Dan Hughes.
Greetings and welcome to the Mega Meeple. I'm Thomas Grogan, and I'd like to throw at you an experience I had over this past week. I received a Kickstarter game about a month or two ago, and was finally able to get a group of people together to play it. And when I kickstarted it, it seemed like everything I wanted. You know, it seemed like a really cool game. But once we finally got it to the table and started playing it, it was the sense of dejection settled in. It was sort of like, this is not quite the game that I was hoping for. In fact, the rule books and the mechanics were such that we had to house rule quite a few things in order to make it playable. And that's what I want to throw out to all of you is, have you ever played a game that was either the rule books were inadequate, or, and I've talked about in rule books in a previous video, but just the play of the game, the mechanics of the game were so clunky that you had to house rule quite a few things just to make it playable. So what would you do in a situation like that? Have you ever played a game that the design, once you got it to the table, was so clunky that you had to basically redesign the game? At what point of house ruling a game do you finally just throw up your hands and say, you know what? Forget this thing. It's more trouble than it's worth. So what do you think? Sound off in the comments down below. And go to our website and follow us on any of our social media outlets, and follow us on our weekly gaming podcast. All the links and pertinent information is found on the website. And until next time, thanks for watching.
Hello guys, it's Cardboard Rhino and welcome to Rhino Says Yes. Today I want to show you perhaps the best storytelling board game out there. It's Tales of the Arabian Nights. In Tales of the Arabian Nights, you are the hero in a story of adventure and wonder, just like those in 1001 Nights. During the game, you win story points and destiny points from various encounters and from completing your quests, which can be anything from seeking love or money to slaying wild creatures. The storybook is really huge with over 2,000 tales that offer great replayability, featuring imprisoned princesses, friendly mermen, not so friendly magicians, places of wonder, magnetic mountains, and of course, rhinos. In your turn, you draw an encounter card and roll the die and add any extra destiny points and the number you're on, and this takes you to the reaction matrix, where you choose your reaction to the encounter. Then after rolling the destiny die, this takes you to a story number that another player reads out, in which sometimes you have to make choices and some others your current status determines the outcomes, and sometimes there's extra awarded paragraphs. During the game, from your encounters and quests, you gain statuses that create your character's progression. Some give you extra skills and some others you try really hard to get rid of. And like this, you continue your own personal tale, pursuing enough story points and destiny points to claim victory. This game is really well made, the stories are very powerful, and it gets everyone on the table involved. People will be giving you their opinions on how to resolve the encounters, they will be laughing at your latest statuses and misfortunes, and they will be definitely anticipating with excitement the next encounters, independently of whose turn it is. And I find it really interesting that although there is a winner, you don't play this game to win. You play it to create enjoyable and epic stories, sometimes funny stories that you will definitely remember. So Rhino says yes to Tales of the Arabian Nights. You should definitely give it a go.
Good morning, Tom. Hope you're having a good breakfast, but I'm here to tell you you're wrong. Recently, you said I think it was in your podcast, you said that when playing a game online, like through an app, you should complete the game. Don't quit early. And I disagree with that. See, the reason why I love playing online is the speed. I can start and stop anytime I want. And that's awesome. One of my favorite games is Star Realms. And sometimes I know I'm going to lose, right? You can just tell I'm going to lose. So quit, right? Just quit. Go on to the next game. I don't want to wait to lose, if that makes any sense. Anyways, that's what I think. Sorry, but you're wrong.
Sometimes I occasionally disagree with the Tom is wrong, but this one I'm going to extremely disagree on. Now, it's possible that you're just playing against a computer. You can quit anytime you want. I don't care. Quit one side up and down. I do it all the time. But if you're playing another human being, to quit is not treating that person with fairness. You might say, oh, well, I knew I was going to lose, so I quit. You're taking the joy of that game from that other person. You're basically saying, yeah, I know that you're going to win, and so you're not worth my time. See you later. And that's the part I do not get. I do not understand why when people do this, they're basically essentially saying, well, this game's not worth my time, and neither are you. And this, of course, is one of the reasons why I'm not as big of a fan of online gaming as I am with face-to-face, because could you imagine doing that in a face-to-face game? You start playing a game, you're like, you know what, I can't win, I'm leaving. Now, it's possible if you're playing a very long game, of course, that you want to quit, you're like, oh, you know what, we're going to be in this game another 2 hours, I can't win, may I resign? And if your opponent lets you, it's one thing. But when I'm playing a game against someone online and suddenly they just disconnected and they left, that feels rude to me, and I don't really like it. I don't know, maybe you guys feel differently, let us know in the comments. Hey folks, I need more Tom is wrong stuff, send them in, tell me what I'm wrong about, and we'll debate a bit about that. Thanks so much for watching Board Game Breakfast and watching the English scenery zoom by in the background. We'll be back at normal time next week, and of course we got other things. I'll see you later today live. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production, sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., an amazing place to buy board games. Cool stuff in stock at coolstuffinc.com.